Hello everybody, my name is Mike Gag, and in this video we are going to be looking at creating our very first Allegro 5 test application. If you are following the series, you've just installed Allegro, and now it's time to make sure everything is working. So what I have here is I have Visual Studio 2010 Professional. I would like to stress that if you have the Express Edition, the Visual Studio Visual C++ Express Edition, that should work just fine. And what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and create ourselves a new project here. So what we have here is, I was doing a little bit of Visual Basic there. Let's come down to Visual C++ here, and we are going to select an empty project. We want to make sure we're using an empty project. And then we're just going to give it some name. I'll call it Allegro Test, and we'll just save it to our default location there. And what we get is our Allegro Test project open here. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to add a new item here. We're just going to add a CPP file, call it main, and there we go. And we are ready to start coding. Now the thing about Allegro 5 coding is that unlike previous editions of Allegro, everything is sort of split into modules. And doing that greatly increases the efficiency of the application, so it doesn't have to load up all these unnecessary modules every time you want to have any sort of application. So the first thing we need to do is we need to include Allegro 5/allegro.h. That is first and foremost the header file we're going to have in all of our applications that use Allegro. Then, since this is a test video, we want to have some way of outputting verbose errors if something goes wrong. So I am importing or including the Allegro native dialog. That way if we have an error when this program is running, it's going to pop up with a lot of detail using a native message box. And then we can start our application here. Now before I start getting really into the code here, I want to stress that I'm not going to be explaining a lot of what I'm doing right now. This is mostly just a test to make sure everything is running, and once we have this program up and running and good to go, subsequent videos will kind of get into the code and explain it a little bit better. So I'm just going to sort of start coding here. You can sort of see how some things are written out. Creating a display, and I'm also just going to copy and paste a bit of my code here so you can take a look at it. And I'm going to copy and paste more. And the final bit. Alright, so we have some code here on the screen, and of course I copied and pasted, but I'll leave it up here so you can type it all out. Essentially what we're doing is we're creating a display, then we are initializing Allegro. If it fails to initialize, this is why we imported the Allegro native dialog. It's going to give us a nice little failed to initialize Allegro message box here. Then we're going to create our display. It's going to be 640 by 480. Then if we fail to create a display, another nice little message box will pop up. And then finally we're going to destroy the display. Now what's going to happen here when I run this is it's actually going to fail to run. So I'll show you here. Go to run it and we get an error. And we get a whole bunch of these external symbol errors. And the reason is that we're missing one very crucial step. And that crucial step is we need to tell Allegro, or the Visual Studio, that we're using Allegro. I know that we're importing the headers here, but we need to tell Visual Studio where the library is at. So what we need to do is we need to right-click on Allegro Test and go to Properties. And then my Properties window opened up off screen. The Properties window will pop up. We're going to come down here to Linker, and then Input. And then in here, I'm just going to hit Edit. And we need to type in Allegro hyphen 5.0.1 hyphen monolith, because that's the build we're using, slash md slash debug .lib. Hit OK there, hit apply, and OK there. Alright, so now we have linked the library as an additional dependency, and when I run this, now what you don't see is that the black box flashes very quickly and then goes away. And that's because our code isn't doing anything yet. The black box just pops up, goes away, no big deal. But what it tells us is that Allegro is installed successfully and you're ready to continue on writing more meaningful applications.